Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Yay, can I get a wave? Like start on this side, go wave, across and down and over. Okay, yeah, you people aren't awake yet, more coffee. So, I hate that friggin' picture of me. The one on LinkedIn is so much better because it uses what? AI. Thank you very much. I hate that picture. Yeah, that just, and what the hell is that thing up next to my face? Okay, anyway. I am the most unlikely person to ever be a CIO because I really do believe in change. I believe in things are not the way they should be, and we should, as leaders, when you see something that's not right, fix it. So things that I'm doing to breach the valley of death. How many people in here have worked with the federal government ever in the history of all time? Raise your hand. How many people regret that decision? I'm the only one? Likey's. So what we've recently launched, I've been in the position, I think a whole of 6 or 7 weeks, is a program called SWIFT, Software Fast Track. What I'm doing is we need more innovation. The SecDef has told us, bring software, bring COTS into the building faster at a more rapid rate, and our job is to ensure that we are doing the best to ensure that we have lethality, that we're ready, and that we're efficient. Because China is not waiting. Iran is not waiting. North Korea is not waiting. Russia is not waiting. And they're not waiting for us to go through all of our incredible bureaucracies to say something is good. So what I've done, and the team, we've done a software fast track. So as a COTS provider, you can provide me a third-party SBOM. Provide me your SBOM from production and sandbox, because I want to see the deltas, a third-party attestation of your risk posture based on my 12 risk factors. You populate that. I have AI on the backside, large language modeling, that will determine if there are any anomalies, if there's something in your source code that's bad. If not, you get a provisional ATO like that. Then I'm blowing up the RMF. The RMF is archaic. It's a bunch of paperwork. So we look at an ATO, an authority to operate. We basically put it on the scales, and if it weighs about 7 ounces, it's a good ATO. What I want and what we're doing right now in the department is going through a rapid change. So May 1st, this Thursday, is the first kickoff. We're bringing all the CIOs and the CISOs in the building. Then we're bringing the SIX community in. Then I'm bringing A&S in. And then I'm going to bring industry in. And we're going to break it down to 6 tenets. But I want it to be automated. I want continuous monitoring. What do I mean by that? That's what we're going to talk about. What do we mean about red teaming? Are there enough red teams in the government, or do we need to look outside at commercial red teams? We need to change our thought process, because having software in an ATO that is a static environment, it doesn't help the warfighter. What changes every single day is the network, is the software, is the environment. Why are we so structured to stay in a static position when our adversaries are always dynamic? They're always changing the TTPs. They're always innovating. And we are stuck into process. So I'm breaking that up. So crossing the valley of death, the ATOs in a year from now, I hope, are something I never hear again. I want to ensure that the capability was it designed in a secure by design environment? Show me. Show me that you're doing continuous monitoring. You're showing me the culture of cybersecurity. You're showing me you have a culture of zero trust. Those things are far more important than a piece of paper, aren't they? I mean, if we sit and we think about what the principles of zero trust are, zero trust is assume the adversary is in everything you do. We have to look at it that way. It's the only way that we're going to stay competitive, relevant, to win the fight. Now, I know there are a lot of people in this room, and you're going to hear things that may upset you to some degree. How many people know about the CMMC? Raise your hand. Okay, how many people think the CMMC is a bad idea? Okay, you want to know, why do you think it's a bad idea? Well, sweetheart, here's the problem set. It wouldn't have to be if you guys had done the right thing. In 2014, you were given a law that said, initiate and execute the NIST 171. And you didn't. You ignored it. You said, I'll write a poem. And there were poems that went out to 2099. We do not fight, you sir, in the uniform. We do not fight alone. We fight with the Defense Industrial Base. I don't give the Department of Defense any excuse why they don't adhere to the NIST 53. Why should I let the Defense Industrial Base have any wavering on not implementing the 171? So you may not like it, but if you had done what you said you were doing, we wouldn't be in this problem. Don't blame mom because you stayed out past your curfew. So, and I love when industry goes online and they say, it's so hard. China is sitting back going, oh, it's so hard. What company's that guy with? What company is she with? That just makes it a heck of a lot easier. Listen, Wang, get on that guy. Stop putting your dirty laundry out. Why are you letting your employees say stuff like that about your company? By the way, that is one of the things I tell DIBCAC to go and audit at DCMA. Whenever I see somebody say how hard it is, you're opening the door for an audit. If it's hard and you're in the Defense Industrial Base, by gosh, let it be hard. Because you live in the greatest country, full stop, on the planet. Full stop. And remember that. Remember, there is no line of people dying to get into Iran. There is no line of people waiting and dying to go become part of the Uyghur labor force and die in slave trade. There's no line of people dying to get in Venezuela. There's no line of people dying to get into Russia. But you know what country they're dying to get into? Yours. Act like it. Be proud of it. Defend it. There are men and women that volunteer to defend. Thank you, sir. Defend your freedom. And they are banking on you doing the right thing every single day. And when you say to me, it's too hard, you know, when they were storming the beaches of Normandy, I'm fairly certain the weather was pretty crappy that day. In fact, we all know it was. The tides were not in their favor. They didn't have any ammunition. They were hungry and they were cold. Do you know what they all said? Nobody sat on those boats and said, this is too hard. I'm going to go back and do a poem. What they said is, let me see where the Southerners are because they can run up a beach faster than most of us, and stay behind the Southerner. They didn't say, I need a poem, it's too hard. If it's too hard, get out of the business. Defense is not something that we should take lightly. We live in the beacon on the hill. Whether you like this country or not, in its political stance or not, full stop, it's always going to be changing. But she has been the beacon of light for the world since she was created some 250 years ago. Be proud of it. Start acting like it. Do the right thing. And then mommy won't have to send out audits, because I don't want to do that. But I also did it in a way that it would be sustaining and change and making a cultural change. And that's what we're doing right now. Do you all not see culture is what we're talking about here? Culture of zero trust. A framework is great, but I want you to adapt a culture of zero trust. I want you to adapt a culture of cybersecurity. Everything should be built on security. I don't know any of you that don't lock your doors and windows at night. Raise your hand if you do. I want to come visit. But why do we think that our networks shouldn't be that secure when the most critical data is out there? And anybody in our supply chain across this great DIB, which is approximately 300,000 companies, give or take any given day, is this: you're all valuable. You're all the most important person in the room. Because the adversary will look at the weakest link as a way to get to you. So if you're not as good as the person sitting next to you, and the person sitting next to you, and the person sitting next to you, none of you are good. So remember that. We do not work or fight a war alone. And this nation is the best. And we are the greatest country, full stop. And I don't know how much more passionate that I can get about this. The reason why they brought me in the Pentagon is not because I'm a person who kicks the can down the road. I take big problems on and I want to solve them. And I take industry into everything that I do. This RMF process, you guys are coming right along with me because there's no point in me doing it when you have to execute it. So as I move through and I meet with my CISOs and I meet with my SIX community, I meet with the A&S, then it's going to be the summer of industry. Tell us what you're doing. How can we do it better? How can I use AI? How can I use digital capability in continuous monitoring? What does continuous monitoring really mean? Is there anybody receiving it? That's a big question I have, right? In SBOMs, I've got to make sure that when you're giving me that SBOM, that anybody touching that capability has a repository, we call it EMAS, where they can look and say, oh, if you put this piece of software with this network and this config, you're going to have a problem. And the other thing we're also working on in my 3 minutes and 26 seconds left is something called the Software Assurance Program, that everybody in the room will have a problem at some point with software. It's an inevitability. What do you do when you have a problem? How do we get you back to good? That's another thing. Much like human beings, there's nobody perfect in this room. That big guy elevated a few weeks ago into heaven. We're all flawed. So what do we do? What does bad look like? What does good look like? What does good remediation look like? And how do we get there? And then how do we get from a point of where we are today in our weaponry and in our platforms, that we have the right, the executive order on acquisition reform. Thank you. I worked on the software acquisition pathway. If anybody of you are aware of that, the SecDef, I'm the lady who wrote the cybersecurity portion. I said, nothing matters unless you put security at the base. And where we've come from is years and years and years of bolting on cyber and bolting on security after the fact, and it doesn't work. It has to be inherently baked in. And that is our goal. So as you go out throughout your day, and I didn't mean to pick on you, dear sir, and I thank you for being honest, and you're right, bureaucracy sucks. And yes, Katie Arrington said that, bureaucracy sucks. But I also know that, I came from commercial industry, I've been in government, I've been a legislator, I've been all the way, I've owned my own small business, I've sold my own small business, I've done everything in the gamut. And what I can tell you is, I want the innovation. We need it. We're dying for it. I want to bring the non-traditionals in. We need it. We're dying for it. We need to break up the culture of customization on every bloody thing we do in the Department of Defense. We're not that special. We all need to remember that. And lastly, I say this at every event. I work for you. I work for the U.S. taxpayer. You pay my salary. I thank you. It's not a lot. I'm not doing it for the money. It does pay for the condo up here in D.C., but I serve at the pleasure of the president, but I work for you. And remember that. Nobody on this stage coming from the government is any more or less important than anybody in this room. And I pray, and I mean I pray every day to my Lord and Savior, every day, that I'm never the smartest person in the room. And today I'm proven I'm not. And I pray I never am, and you should never be. Because the one thing in this lifetime I've learned is that I've run for Congress a couple of times, I failed. I was escorted out of the building under the last administration, they weren't real fond of me. I'm back. That no matter how many times your business fails, you fail, everybody's gonna fail. Fail early, fail often. The characteristic of a human being, a company, is how they get up from the fall. Because you're all going to do it. And we need to do one other thing. Risk is a 4-letter word, but is a 4-letter word that we should share with each other to ensure that the best of the best of the best can maintain the best of the best of the best. In China, they share risk freely. Here, we hide it. Let's change that culture of risk awareness. The buzzer just went off. I wish I could stay and talk longer. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. My dearest and sweet apologies, but I do appreciate your honesty and the integrity to say the truth. And I wish you all nothing but the best today. I hope that the good Lord shines on you and that anything I can do in the meantime, I would give you my email, but I don't have enough time. It's Catherine.e.arrington.civ@mail.mil. I work for you. It's K with a Catherine, as you can clearly see. E is for Elizabeth. Lastly, my mother thought for some crazy reason, no kidding, that a child born in 1970 in Virginia, Fairfax, Lebanese, Italian, and Polish, somewhere in the world, Prince Charles might find her and make her Lady Catherine one day. Didn't happen. Take care. God bless.